Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2021 Kia Telluride Nightfall. Up front is a 3.8 liter V6, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this here Kia Telluride Nightfall for a couple of reasons. First of all, I really like the Tellurides. This is now my third one in which I've reviewed, but it is my first Nightfall edition, so I'm excited to share that with you guys today. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpradel.com, where you can buy stickers and other merchandise when it becomes available. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form and get a video of your car just like this one. And you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 3.8 liter V6 under the hood, making about 291 horsepower. Now, Kia/Hyundai, who owns Kia, have used this engine for a very long time. The Genesis Coupes of the late 2000s, early 2010s actually used the same engine, slightly configured differently, but the same engine at its core. So it's been fairly reliable. And 291 horsepower is pretty good for a vehicle like this. We'll talk about towing in a second. Like I said, paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, which is actually a very nice benefit. A lot of other vehicles in this segment, for instance, the Subaru Ascent, is using a CVT. Well, this still has an 8-speed automatic, which I just prefer more traditional automatics to CVTs. Last but not least, this is all-wheel drive, and that's part of the Nightfall package, is that they defaulted to being all-wheel drive. Now, you can find Tellurides in front-wheel drive if that's something you really prefer, or if you want to save some cash, but all-wheel drive comes standard on the Nightfall. Now, I do want to talk about towing before we get onto the interior and Nightfall package. This Telluride can tow 5,000 pounds, and that was actually one of the reasons why the owner, Jacob, bought this particular Telluride, because a lot of other vehicles in this segment can't tow that 5,000 pounds, or if you do want to tow 5,000 pounds, you're going to pay a lot more than what he paid for this. So, because of that 8-speed automatic, it's stronger than a CVT. Because of that 291 horsepower, because of that all-wheel drive, then you do get to tow. And the Nightfall Edition adds a 7-pin connector for towing, in case that's something you want to do instead of the standard 4-pin. Before we move on to the interior, let's talk about the Nightfall package. The Nightfall package was $1,295 when new from the dealership. It's a $1,200, almost $1,300 add-on. It comes with the wood trim on the interior you're seeing. I love that. Leather and premium stitching on the steering wheel, as well as throughout the rest of the interior. A premium cloth headliner, Harman Kardon sound system, silver dash trim, heated and ventilated seats, as well as blacked out exterior accents, of which it makes it look a little bit more aggressive. The Nightfall Edition is Kia's version of what a lot of manufacturers are doing. Toyota has the Nightshade, Mazda has the Carbon Edition, Honda has the Black Edition, and so this is Kia's version of those packages, and I have to say it makes the vehicle a little bit more handsome, a little bit nicer, and we'll talk about it with the interior. But now let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me I have 2 physical gauges and a screen. This is a little bit dated at this point just because more modern Kias are switching over to digital gauges. However, I still like this traditional setup. On the left, I have my tachometer and coolant temperature, and on the right, I have my speedometer and fuel. Then in the center, I do get a little digital screen I can switch through. This comes standard on all Kia products, and it does give you some good information, but it's not that exciting to look at. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my voice commands, mode, volume, skip track, and phone options. And then on the right, I do have my pages icon for that center screen in the gauge cluster we just talked about, as well as my cruise control settings. This does come with adjustable radar cruise control, which is a fantastic option. The overall look and feel of the steering wheel is pretty nice. I am pleasantly enjoying it, and I think it still looks very modern. Off to the left, I have my gauge dimmer switch, as well as a bunch of my safety options. So I do have blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, traction control, and my rear tailgate button. Moving on to the door, I have my power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Very nice features here in the Telluride. And moving into the center, we do have the Kia infotainment system. Now, I'm not going to harp on this too long. I've done so many reviews of Kia infotainment systems, but I will say that this actually does have a very cool feature that I don't know if I've shown off yet, and that is called Driver Talk. So because the owner of this vehicle does have kids, he's actually used it and showed it to me. And so it works as a PA system. As you could probably tell with my voice, I almost sound like a cartoon robot now. But what's actually happening is my voice is being projected throughout the interior of the vehicle. This is nice for talking to kids in the back, and when they're not listening to you or paying attention, you can say, oh, hey, Timmy and Jonathan, listen up, and they don't listen to you, and then you go, hey, actually, ooh, that's interesting. Oh, if you yell, there's actually a limiter, and it won't, so you can't blast your kids' ears. Yeah, see, it cut off right there. Oh, interesting. Kia thought of it. I think it's a really cool feature. It's my first time playing with it. And I won't be doing the rest of the video in this voice because this will get real annoying real quick. Oh, it's actually echoing the turn signal. This is weird. Anyway, that's just what I wanted to share. I do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and here's what the backup camera looks like. Very, very nice features. You can also control the rear climate controls. Again, great option for kids. And you can get your roadside assistance and other things through here. Down below that infotainment system, we do have 3 climate control vents. Very, very symmetrical. Love the look of them. And then we have a bunch of buttons. So up top, we have our radio buttons for like navigation, media, seek, track, our hazard switch, and things like that. And then we have our climate controls down below. I do get dual zone climate, really technically tri-zone climate if you count the back seats as their own climate zone, because you can change that independently. Off to the left, I do get my heated steering wheel options. Every Midwestern man's dream is to own a vehicle with heated steering wheel, and that's true here in the Telluride. And then moving down on the center console, in the center, I do get a little cubby with a 12-volt outlet, a USB in, that is for the media, and then a USB charger as well off to the right. Very, very nice. And I get a wireless phone charger down below. So all of your charging needs will be met here in the Telluride. Off to the left and right, however, I do have heated and ventilated seat options for the driver and the passenger. Like I said, that was part of the Nightfall package, and I absolutely love it. Ventilated seats are fantastic. Heated seats are the best things in the world. So all around, great. Moving into the center console, I do have the shifter off to the left. Then I get my drive modes down below the shifter. So I have Smart, Sport, Comfort, Eco, and Snow. Tons of customization here in the Telluride for whatever terrain you're driving over. Love that customization. And I do have a center locking diff that I could turn on in case the going gets a little bit tougher than I expected. I can lock it and get that extra traction, which is fantastic and something that isn't found in a lot of other SUVs, at least in this segment. Down below that, I do have the automatic start stop on and off, parking sensors on and off, auto hold, and my power parking brake. Really nice features. But off to the right, we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 2021 Kia Telluride Nightfall, and unfortunately, like all other Tellurides so far, fails the big friggin' bottle test. I didn't expect it to pass, however, still sad that it doesn't. Then we do have a very nice center console, and then we'll talk about the seats. The seats are finished in this lighter gray color, which I really, really love. Let's talk about that for a second. This overall interior, I think, is fantastic. The wood trim definitely helps out from that Nightfall edition, but I think it's laid out really well, and I think it looks a lot more luxurious than you might think going into a Kia. I think it's just really fantastic, and probably my favorite part of this particular Nightfall Telluride is this interior. I mean, look at it. This is punching above its weight class through and through. I really love that. But getting back to the seats themselves, they are heated and ventilated. They are power. However, at around $50,000, they are not memory seats. Something I definitely would have liked to have seen in a vehicle like this. However, not the end of the world, but just something to note. No memory seats on the Nightfall edition. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a backseat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2021 Kia Telluride Nightfall. Couple of things to note. First of all, tons of space back here. Now the seats do adjust. I can bring them up if I'd like and smash myself, But when they are put all the way back, I have tons of space. As a big, large adult, I am not struggling for room at all. Now, that does mean that I would squish the back seat people a little bit, but hey, they chose their destiny sitting in the back seat, so what can you do? I get tons of space over here. These are captain's chairs, so I don't get any center console or anything like that. In terms of amenities, I have 2 chargers on the front 2 seats. They're sort of on the sides. Very, very nice and hard to find in this vehicle segment. Like Mercedes does this and stuff. So again, very, very nice to see. I get 2 cup holders, and then I have a 12-volt outlet in the back. Up here, I do get a nice panel for controlling my own temperature if you can reach it, but if you have kids that can't reach it, you could also control it from the front infotainment screen. I do get seat back pockets, of course, power windows. I do have shades for kids as well. If you have a baby in a car seat, you don't want the sun hitting them. Although these windows are tinted, this is definitely a very nice extra option for that. I get Harman Kardon speakers on the doors, as well as the wood trim from the front carries on back here. I get vents in the ceiling, and overall, just fantastic. And the owner, Jacob, does have 2 younger kids. He puts car seats back here and says that it's super, super easy to put kids back here. I'll show a video clip here. The door actually opens really wide as well. Not all SUVs do that, and I think that's something a lot of people overlook, is how wide the back doors of SUVs open. It's this very niche thing, but you get the point. Now, I do have a 3rd row of seats. I'm not going to jam myself back there because I've done that in so many other Telluride videos. You could look up those, or I'm sure there's plenty of subreddits of large men sitting in small chairs that you can go look up if you want to see what that looks like. But let's hop around the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Kia Telluride Nightfall. Just a button there. It does have a power tailgate, which is really, really nice. And then once you are back here, you do have these pull straps as well as these buttons for the back seat. So I'll show this real quick. You just grab this strap, pull it up, and then your seat is up, and then you can put it back down like that. Pretty simple there. And it does have this nice Velcro strap, so you can leave it like that. But then I do have these buttons over here. I do get a 12-volt outlet, very nice, but also hit this button. I'll try to get it all in frame. And you can put that seat down with the touch of a button. However, that is only going down. Those seats do not power come back up, so you got to walk around the side, open the door, blah, blah, blah. However, I do get some storage options down here below, which is very, very nice. I have USB chargers in the 3rd row. You can see it there and over there, cup holders and things like that. Very, very nice that this is a 3-row SUV. Currently, it's the only 3-row SUV that Kia is offering. So very, very nice to see that. Now we got to talk about the looks. And of course you do get those blacked out accents because it is the Nightfall edition. Really, really love that look. I like the black wheels and I love the daytime running lights, although they are orange. And I don't know of any other company that's using amber running lights. They definitely stick out in the crowd and look very, very modern and very fresh. Overall, I do think the Telluride is pretty handsome. I do think it's in need of a little bit of a refresh just because it's been on the market for a couple of years, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. People just want to move on, and I've reviewed a couple of these. I'm starting to get used to them, so I'd like to see maybe a little bit of a refresh in the next couple of years, but no rush from Kia. So now, with all that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think finally driving a Nightfall edition of the Kia Telluride? Well, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan, and let me tell you why. I've reviewed almost 900 cars. This is like review 880 something. And I've driven cars that are great value, and I've driven cars that are horrendous value that you should not purchase. And I'm happy to report that this is in that good value category. I think for the look and feel of the interior, it's right on par, if not better than a lot of its competitors. I cannot get over how nice, spacious, and comfortable this interior feels. It really does feel like a Mercedes. I think it feels like an Audi product. Audi products to me feel different just because they're kind of weird, but like on that level. Like this doesn't feel like an Audi, but it feels on the level of Audi, if that makes sense. Either way, I think these Tellurides are fantastic value. Now, this one was bought for around $50,000. Keep in mind the 2022 car market and things like that, but also keep in mind the fact that if you wanted these same features, the Harman Kardon sound system, 5,000 pounds of towing, ventilated seats, in any domestic vehicle, whether that be Durango, Tahoe, Expedition, Explorer, you're going to be paying out the nose for it. This You're not. And while $50,000 doesn't sound like the bargain of the century, when you start actually listing it out on paper of all the things that you get, it kind of starts to be. It kind of starts to make sense. This thing, this car, this SUV, whatever you want to call it, makes sense. It won't break the bank, but more importantly, it won't break your heart. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Jacob for letting me take out his Kia Telluride from 2021, the Nightfall edition. Jacob's been absolutely awesome to work with. He also makes leather wallets. You could see here. They're really, really cool, and he hand makes all of them. So if you'd like to check him out, they will be linked in the description below. He's been absolutely cool. I'm so glad we were able to set up filming here in Indiana today. So huge thank you to him. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.